Hi, and welcome to Screams in Focus, a special Halloween series from Screens in Focus. I'm Diana, and today we are celebrating the women who have redefined fear on screen. We're going to be talking about some of our favorites, and Renee is here to join me. Hi, Renee. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing very well. Excited for this episode. How are you?
I'm great. When I was planning this, I thought Renee is the perfect person to talk about these famous scream queens, some classic ones, current films. And so I'm just really excited to dig into this. But I do want to pose our question of the day to our friends out there. And so that is, what scream queen had you screaming with fear or cheering for her survival? So Renee and I are going to answer that a little bit later on, but friends out there, we would love to hear from you. You can leave it in comments here on YouTube, on social media, or you can even call us at 669-223-8542, and you just might find yourself on Screens in Focus. Okay. So there has been so many classic scream queens out there, and they've had such an impact on the genre. So, Renee, what comes to mind from you when you think about the impact and who stands out as a scream queen?
Well, like you said, there are so many who have just redefined, and it keeps being redefined, as they come out with new things and more ways to shock us and more gore and these things. But I think one of the quintessential classic scream queens would be Janet Leigh when she was in Psycho, that shower scene. And that was, that's one of the ones that comes to mind because it's iconic. It was so innovative at the time.
Yeah.
And she set the pace for a lot of women to come. And also that scene, how many times have you seen that over and over? Like they've done it in very different ways, different whatever, but it's inspired by that movie. So she was the first one that popped into my head.
I love that. And, I have chills right now as you were talking about it, and I still have it because that's so true. Every time I look up screams, horror, whatever it is her face. It is, so it's so iconic. It is the top person that you can think of. So I'm so glad that you brought her up.
Yeah. I remember being younger and seeing that.
Yeah.
And I started watching horror at probably too young of an age, but I've always loved it. And now, that was the first thing that popped in my head when you posed that question.
Yeah.
So then that segues us into her daughter, Jamie Lee Curtis. So again, another, quintessential scream queen, final girl, and all this that we've been cheering on since 1978. And I think what the most recent movie was that 2022 maybe? I forget when Halloween ends.
I'm not sure either. It almost feels like it was just last year, but
yeah, maybe it was. Anyway, more recently. And so, you watch, there's all that filler in between, but
yeah.
As a purist, we go from the original and then we just skip down that. They're great movies. As you can see, I'm representing the third one because everyone gives it crap, but it's such a great movie. But it's just so fun to see her, especially now because she's so much older and we see her just still in this role and how just the torment she's had to go through this whole, all these years. And she was, again, like her mother before her, she just set the stage for things to come. Laurie, though, she's kind of a badass. She turns into quite the badass, when she starts to stand up for herself and realize that I can do this. When she first things happened, it was all new to her and us and everyone when it was much. But anyway, I think that's most people probably think of her as one of the major scream queens.
How can you not? For doing this for decades, her playing the role of Laurie Strode. And it's funny, I just saw a YouTube video as she spoke about it, and she said, "We are intertwined. We will forever be intertwined. We are one in the same. And you just can't disconnect who we are." And I just loved hearing that from her. She gets very emotional about the legacy of that character and what it means to her, what it means to other people. Like everyone that meets her talks to her about this role and about how strong and resilient this person is that, survives. And she really did shift how females are in horror. And it's just, she just helped pave the way. Yes. Like first her mom and now her. And so I just thought it was so amazing to hear from her and to see her get so emotional about this role and, you know, how much we care about her in that role and that she's able to defeat Michael in all of that. So, of course, he keeps coming back, which is so damn scary. And you're right. There were a lot of middle ones in there. You're kind of like, did I see all those middle ones? I did see 1, 2, 3, you know, I'm not sure where. And then I came back.
Yeah. I think I've watched them all. I've watched them all, but if I just kind of like pretend those are just standalone movies or something, just like Rob Zombie's, you know, Halloween. That's standalone. That isn't canon. So they're very entertaining.
So she's just done such a phenomenal job with that, which such a powerful character and that, you know, we cheer for, which leads me into someone else that I cheer for. And that is Sigourney Weaver as Ripley in the Alien franchise. Specifically, my favorite one of those is Aliens. But also she also helped define it because they were both around the same time frame when those both came out. So they were both instrumental in the horror genre. Now, with Ripley, it was more science fiction horror. And so she was combining action and intelligence and vulnerability. And she fought aliens and just her portrayal just shifted a lot of perceptions. Her role was originally written as a man. And then
interesting.
Yeah. And then they changed it, which I'm so glad they did.
It wouldn't be the same.
Yeah. And so also she, which I didn't recall until I just recently was researching the information on this, was she was nominated for an Oscar for this role. And Aliens itself was also nominated, which was highly unusual because science fiction and horror is never recognized by a lot of the award shows. And this was. She didn't win, but she was nominated, which was so cool. I just think that is so amazing. All right. Is there any other Scream Queens that you wanted to bring up?
Yeah, my other one, I put her, maybe not everyone will consider her more of a classic one, but I do because she's not very recent. Like we met her a long time ago, but Vera Farmiga from the Conjuring franchise. And I just love how she portrays her, how she has that demeanor about her, even though she's in these frightening, you know, she just handles it, you know, and it's just a different plane because again, we're in the supernatural horror, but I just love her portrayal and Lorraine Warren, I think is her name. Yeah. And you know, she just does the way she does that. And she's been in other horrors too. I forgot till I was researching, she was in the original Orphan movie. I had forgotten that. And so, she was in that. And then I've never watched the Bates Motel series, but she's in a role. Yeah.
Love that
series. Loves it. I don't know why, because someone else has mentioned that too, but doesn't she play a role in that? Yeah.
She's the mom. She's the mom.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Okay.
No, you're going to go watch that.
All right. Here's my homework.
The reason I say that is because you already love her as an actress.
Yeah.
You already know her, you know, the Psycho film. So you will really appreciate it. It is it is one of my favorite series. So, as far as horror is concerned,
I will do that.
Very good. Yeah.
Woo! I need more on my Halloween list, you know, my horror watching list. So I'll add it.
I love it.
But so I just love her portrayal and just she's very different than most people in a horror movie, you know, just the way she, you know, these situations she finds herself in are extremely frightening and terrifying even. So I've just always thought she was really neat and just a different kind of side of that, you know, Scream Queen figure.
Yeah. Wow. And so I wanted to bring up a classic one person also, and that is Sissy Spacek in Carrie, because I had talked about this in the previous Screams in Focus. And we talked about horror movies that we had watched growing up, and Carrie was one of them. And it was one of my favorites. And so she's classic too, because alongside seeing Janet Leigh in Psycho, you see Sissy Spacek as Carrie with all that blood that pig's blood. I believe it's
Mhm.
pig's blood
Yeah.
all over her and it's coming down her face. And so with Sissy Spacek, I feel like she redefined the horror by transforming, like being a vulnerable outcast into a powerful force with her telekinetic powers. And also, I mean, she was a victim of bullying.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so, and that's why you felt for her. And I think that's
Mhm.
why that movie was such a draw, because you feel for her all the way through. And then she has this mother, this religious fanatic mother that she
Mhm.
has to deal with. It's like, poor girl. And then, of course, she uses all her telekinetic powers toward the end there. That was crazy scenes. But yes, I regard her as a major scream queen also.
Definitely, yeah.
I also wanted to briefly bring up just two other people, and that is Kathy Bates in Misery, because she kind of set a new standard for psychological horror.
Mhm.
And she's this obsessed fan. And you can't forget that one scene where she goes and gets that big sledgehammer. And if anyone hasn't seen it,
watch it.
watch it and you'll know what we're talking about. And if you have seen it, you know what
You already know.
It just kills me every time I see it. I am just
If I see a GIF of that with her with the sledgehammer in her hand, I get chills because you know what's coming.
oh my gosh. And just the way she walks and she has that look on her face and you're like, oh my God,
She is a woman
scared.
determined for sure.
Yes. Yeah. And the last person I wanted to bring up, and a lot of people won't know this, but I was a really young kid and I used to watch whatever I could on television. And this came up. It's a black and white film. And I'm like, what am I watching? And it was this kid who was portrayed by Patty McCormick. And she was have you ever seen this called The Bad Seed?
I don't think so.
Probably not. I'm sure there are people that did see it. It's really good. And it was probably one of the very first depictions of childhood evil. And, you know, it has to have practical effects because this was like back in whenever, 50s or whenever it was made. So she's just a child. She has like blonde hair, has braids. It looks blonde. It's black and white. Who knows? But she has light color. She has braids. She is an evil child. You should tune in. People should tune in. Everybody just tune in and go watch it because it's very creepy. All right. So we've talked about some classic Scream Queens. I want to come a little more into the future here and talk about recent Scream Queens performances that we see. So what comes to mind for you when we talk about that?
I've got two on this list and there's many more. It's just, these were the first two that really, I feel like they're kind of like, again, in their generation, and they're kind of the two pivotal ones. There are many more, but these two, Samara Weaving, I just love her. And, you know, she was in Ready or Not. She was in The Babysitter, Mayhem. I don't know if you watch Mayhem with Stephen Yen. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Yes, it's her and Stephen Yen are leads. And it's basically this virus has taken over the world. It's not, everyone turns into this kind of aggressive. It's not necessarily a zombie, but they're like aggressive, and they kind of, all their inhibitions are just gone.
Whoa!
They just do these crazy things all over, and they're trying to avoid being, you know, infected while trying to do, you know, and it is crazy. Lots of blood. It's very, you look at even just the movie cover, it's very bloody. So that one's really good. And then she was also in Scream 6. And then she's in a new one called, I think it's Azrael. It's Azrael. And it's an action horror. And the synopsis talks about that it's a world where no one speaks. And then this female-led community hunts down a woman who escaped from them, and they recapture and all that, you know. And so I don't know much about it. And it comes out, I think it comes out the 27th, September 27th, maybe in the theater. So she's in that. So I'm excited to see her in that. So I just like her style. I just like, you know, because she's a very pretty girl, and she's very, you know, but then sometimes she just, you know, survives and does all these things. And I really, really enjoyed The Babysitter. If you haven't watched that, it's really, really good. It's just like, it's a campy slasher, crazy thing. It's on Netflix, I believe, but that one's really good. And then my other one was Mia Goth, because again, she's making a name for herself with the X series of movies. So X, Pearl and Maxine. I have not seen Maxine, but the other two were phenomenal. They're, again, just another genre bending kind of thing that you're like, what is going on here? And so I just think her portrayal, where she plays two characters, and so it's very, you got the horror element there, but then she's also got to do these different people, different characters and things. So those are just the two more recent ones I've really, really enjoyed as, upcoming, or what, I guess they're not really upcoming. They are scream queens.
Just more current ones.
Yes. Yeah.
I love those. And with Mia Goth, I only saw the first one so far, which is X. I've been wanting to watch Pearl. I don't know why I haven't. And then I wanted to see Maxine at the theaters, and I'm not sure what prevented me from seeing that too. So
yeah,
I need to catch up, because I do appreciate her. I do like the original. And I was really looking forward to seeing Maxine. I have a feeling it wasn't at the theaters close to near my house or something. I don't know, something to that effect. Yeah. So I'm going to have to look into those, because I do want to watch those. So on my list, I have Lupita Nyong'o, who I love. She was in Us, Jordan Peele, who I adore. And so she was there, but she's also currently in A Quiet Place Day One, which is one of my favorite movies from current. And I just think she just kind of elevates that whole horror genre. And she just brings so much emotion and, making these characters so much more terrifying. So I just think her portrayals are really unforgettable. I also have Toni Collette. She's not really that new, but I was so impacted by her portrayal in Hereditary, because I still think that's one of the newer movies that is one of the scariest movies that I've seen. She is this mother who is unraveling with unbearable pressure. So it's just, psychological horror in that. And she's just, as an actress, she's really good. And then here she puts all of that into, she was in The Sixth Sense too, right? She was the mom. So I think she has done a few films in that genre. And then I wanted to bring up Kiki Palmer, because I love Nope, because I love Jordan Peele, because she brought so much incredible energy and depth to that role as a sister, as that dynamic. And she also brought humor. You brought humor to a horror film. So
to not a horror film that was touted as a comedy horror.
It's not.
And so to have those little elements, she just was like that comedic relief that was needed during those really tense times. No, I loved her in that. I thought she did the whole movie was phenomenal, but I just loved her. Yeah. Her, like you said, her energy and everything.
Yeah. So she's amazing. And then, because we love The Walking Dead so much, we do have to bring up the women in there, because they're all phenomenal at horror. Well, in characters, I'm talking in characters. So Michonne and Maggie and Carol, but the actresses that play those roles are just so phenomenal. We love them. We love it because of them. So they're just they bring so much to that series. And then I haven't seen it yet, but I know Halle Berry is in Never Let Go. So I'm hoping to see that movie soon. But, she's a mom with these two kids and, having this experience out in the forest. So I think they're tethered to their house, is from what I gather.
Okay. And I haven't really watched much. Like, sometimes I try not to watch some of the trailers, because they give away too much. And so I don't know a whole lot, but it looks, what I've heard, it sounds really good.
Well, I guess the reason it's Never Let Go, because my thought was, you never let go, meaning of faith or hope or each other or whatever it is. But I think it's also means physically you don't let go, because you got to be tethered. I see them tying ropes around their waist and going out to the food, whatever it might be. So I think it has a double meaning there.
Yeah.
All right. I wanted to briefly talk about female directors, writers, anything that comes to mind to you for that.
Yeah. So, bringing up The Walking Dead again, Angela Kang, she's done, several jobs on The Walking Dead. She was a story editor, producer, co-executive producer, and then she eventually became the final showrunner for the series for seasons 9 through 11. And I know that she got a lot of bad, whatever from people and this and that, but I thought she did a good job. I mean, with what I feel like any position in that series by the end, towards the end, with that many characters, it's just like you're just juggling all this, and hopefully the best parts come out, because there's a lot of stuff they didn't get to go through and things, and it's gotten a lot of flack. The ending of the series has gotten a lot of flack because they didn't finish this story and this story. Well, how would you?
Yeah.
And so no, I think she did a great job, and so I was impressed with what she did. With, again, what she had to work with. And it's hard to end a series as iconic as The Walking Dead with the fan base that it has and all of that. So she had a lot of pressure and I think she did a good job. And so, yeah, I've been impressed with what she's done. And like the episodes she's written and things have been good, good episodes and things. So yeah,
I love her. I think she's so amazing. I follow her on social media. I think she's just very talented. I loved her as a writer.
Yeah.
And then when she became the showrunner, my personal opinion, I think she elevated it because she came in, season 9 as the showrunner?
As 9, yeah.
9. I thought 9 through 11 were better to me than 7 and 8. So
yeah, for sure.
I think that when she came in, they needed her. And
yeah,
you're right. Nothing's going to end correctly when it has so many fans and so many storylines to end with after 11 seasons. I thought it was done really well, and I appreciate her and all of her efforts and what she has done. So I am looking out to see what else she might do.
Yeah, I hope she does something. Yeah.
Yeah, because I do respect her, and I think she's very inspiring. So, but
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go. No.
If you look back at like the episodes she wrote, like in seasons 2, 3, 4, and 5, they were some of the best episodes that were in the feed. They were the really good ones. So yeah, I agree. She's done a really good job, and I hope to see her do some more things. I think she's still doing some work on some of the spinoffs, not I think like producing and stuff like that. Yeah. But I would like to see her do some more writing or something, directing, or she could do those things. So it'll be exciting to see what comes up.
It will be. So also I wanted to mention Jennifer Kent, who directed Babadook. I just saw this movie. It's from 2014. It's regarded, it has critical praise on it. So I thought, okay, I'm going to check it out. It is an Australian movie. And so it's exploring grief and mental illness, and it was shot on a budget. It's minimalistic, or minimalist style, I should say. It relies on like shadows and sound. And it's very character driven. Now, I do want to say I appreciated it. I was scared. It did make me like when it was done, I was like looking around as I'm walking to my bedroom late at night to go to bed. But it was different. It was is it my most favorite that I've seen? No. But could I have done that? No. So yeah. I think she just did an amazing job putting this together. And a lot of people really do enjoy it. And I think it's fine. I think it's a fine horror film. I'm glad I watched it at least once. I thought it was worth the watch. But another person I wanted to bring up, and she's not really regarded too much as a horror director, although she did do a movie called Tigers Are Not Afraid. I did try and look this up, but it wasn't anywhere where I could stream, but I will be looking for it in the future to see when I can watch it. But and that's Issa Lopez. I don't even know if I said her name. Sorry about that. But Issa Lopez also directed True Detective Night Country. And I loved her direction on this season. I thought it was so amazing. I do follow her now. I love hearing how she approaches her work. And so I'm really excited to see more. And she is going to do the next season of True Detective. So I'm really excited about that. But I think she has a distinct approach. She blends personal and cultural narratives with supernatural elements. And I love that. Like that gets me excited. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of what she does. All right, we're going to get to answering our question of the day, Renee. So hopefully you have the answer to it. So I would love to know, which Scream Queen had you screaming with fear or cheering for her survival?
Well, I got my answer to this before I knew you were going to bring this up in one of your topics, and it was Carrie. And I would remember cheering her on because after everything she went through, being bullied and being terrorized by this mother and all these things, I was like, yes, get them all. And I remember just feeling like such a kinship with her, like, yes, that's what I would do with my powers too. I would just get rid of everybody, you know. And so I just remember just watching that early, like I said, at a younger age, and just really siding with her as she's destroying everybody. So that was the first one that popped into my head. And there's been many. I mean, you know, I scream and get all excited in a lot of the movies, but that was one of the first ones I just recalled.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. But ooh, scary. Somebody bullies you, they better watch out. Especially if you have those telekinetic powers.
Yeah, they haven't surfaced so far, so we'll see. Just watch out though.
It could come. Isn't there a horror film where something comes with time? You got to just wait for it. I can't remember when their powers come in. You got to like wait for them to come. Can't think of what that is.
Yeah, that sounds familiar, but I can't think what that is. Yeah.
I'm like, I know there's something. We just don't know.
Time.
Yeah. There is still time. So I think for me, I talked about it earlier, but I think it has to be Sigourney Weaver as Ripley, because here's this alien chasing everybody through this ship, and it is getting everybody. And I love the scene where she comes out in that, I don't even know what it is, but it's that robotic thing that she's in. I'm sure it's meant to move parts and things that they need, but she uses it as armor, and she punches and is able to fight against the alien with it. And, you know, it's so iconic when she first comes out with it, because she says, get away from her, you bitch. And then she just starts fighting with it. And it's little, you know, the little alien head is coming out of the big alien head, trying to get in there and bite at her. And she's like, you know. But it feels real because Sigourney Weaver is so good at making us feel like it's just an everyday thing that she has to unfortunately deal with. And then when she's able to get it into that, I'm so bad with, as you can tell, I've never, been in space to know what any of this stuff is called, but the ship where she opens it up to the universe and lets, things fly out as she opens that. And just that whole scene. It's a fantastic scene. If you've seen the movie, you could go look it up. I love cheering her on in this. So I just thought that was one of the best scenes that I've ever seen.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So friends out there, of course, I encourage you to let us know who you would vie for in any of these that we've talked about, or if you have your own, we would love to know that. And we're going to share with you now our fresh screams, and we're going to talk about the latest TV and movies out there. And so I would love to know, Renee, what you have on your list.
So we rewatched a movie recently. I believe it was from 2019, and watched it maybe even just a year ago, and I'd never heard of it prior to that, but it's just titled Z, the letter Z. That's what it's titled. It is such a creepy, scary, excellent movie. I recommend it I've recommended it to many people because it's just one of those unsung hero kind of movies, and it's about this family who has they're being terrorized by their son's imaginary friend, and they can't figure out what's going on, and the kid doesn't quite. It's creepy. It's so creepy, and it's not real gory or anything like that. But it is, it is such a great movie. I love it. I highly recommend it. So,
would you see it on?
We watched it. I think it was on Peacock or maybe Amazon Prime. It's on video on demand, right? Or not video, it's like streaming right now.
Yeah.
But I think it came out I believe it was 2019 because someone asked. I think I looked that up. So yeah, that one is just one of those ones I just really recommend, and we love it so much. And another one that I watched, speaking on your alien, topic, was the new Romulus, which I'm not a big alien fan. I've watched the first one before, and we've since watched it again, but I don't know that I've ever paid. Let's say I've been in the room when the other ones may have been on and probably not paid so much attention as she rolls her eyes at me and tells me Aliens is the best. So I have to go watch that. That's another homework assignment. But yeah, so I just thought it was really good. And I thought that I don't know. I just thought it was well done. Again, not being a diehard fan of any of the others, so I'm sure those people are yelling at me. No, but I really liked it, and I loved it. It's David Johnson who played the android, and
yes,
such a standout character. And he's going to be in something else, and now I can't remember what I read. And I was I want to say it's a horror, but I'm not 100%. But I just loved. I mean, those were two personalities, completely different personalities.
Yeah,
and I just loved I just thought he was phenomenal, but I just really enjoyed the story. So, you can be mad at me if, you didn't like it, but I liked it. And then another one that's out, is in theaters is Strange Darling. And I guess it's not really a horror, but it's like a serial killer thriller. It's telling the story about this, and Kyle Gallner and Willa Fitzgerald are in that. And everything I've read about it, everything I see about it, it just has good reviews and people are excited about it. And they say their performances are phenomenal. And I mean, Kyle Gallner is he's considered a scream king because of all the horror that he's been in. And so he just fits right into this little, segment we're doing here. So I had to bring that one up. And then another upcoming one that I'm really looking forward to is Smile 2. Have you watched Smile?
Oh, yes, I have.
Yeah. The second one comes out October 8th. So this time I think she's like there's a pop star and she has to deal with her past or something, so then of course this all is going to come circling about. So that's what I'm looking forward to also.
I want to see Strange Darlings so much. I had seen it on trailers months and months ago, told my son and his girlfriend who like to go watch horrors. And I said, oh, you guys have to watch this. You have to watch it. So the weekend that it came out, I looked and it wasn't at any of the theaters around us. We had to it was like random, like far away. I'm like, what? I mean, I don't live in I live in a big city. So I'm like, what is going on?
I think it might be an independent film. Maybe that was why.
Yeah, could be. But I was not happy because I really wanted to watch this. And it has really great reviews. So
Giovanni,
Ribisi.
Yes,
Giovanni Ribisi. Cinematography, right?
Right. On 35 millimeter. Yeah. So that was like a big deal with the movie as well, because he did that. I think he might have a small role. I think I read somewhere, maybe he appears in the movie, maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, that was really cool to have that tie in also. So yeah, I do think it's kind of an indie thing. And that's why, because I don't think it was around here either. We had to go to Atlanta or something. And I'm like, I'm not driving to Atlanta to watch a movie, but it looks really, really good. And I'm really excited. So we'll see. Hopefully we get more news on a video on demand release here soon.
I know, exactly. So yeah, I can't wait to watch that one.
Yeah. So that's my fresh screams.
Okay. So my fresh screams is I saw the movie Longlegs at the theater with Nicolas Cage. I was really looking forward to it just because it was touted as like one of the scariest films. Mm-hmm. I do want to say it wasn't that scary, so I'm not sure why that was said, but it was a very interesting movie, and I really liked the story of the FBI agent. I thought that was very supernatural to me, and again, I tend to like those type of movies and such. Mm-hmm. So I liked the vibe of it. I liked the artistics, the graphics of the way this was filmed. I felt like Nicolas Cage was very committed to his role. And so he always is though, right? I mean, so Nicolas Cage, he's so committed and he's just a strong character. I thought all the performances were really strong. I did feel that the ending left me wanting more. I think that's where it fell off for me. But I would say 3/4 of the film, I was all in. I was loving. I was scared. I'm thinking, what's going to happen? I just kind of wish it had a little bit of a different ending, but there was nothing wrong with it. It just, I felt that the ending felt somewhat predictable in a way. And so I thought it was good. What you said you saw this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I forgave that predictability because I thought throughout the movie there was a lot of very unpredictable things. So I forgave that. That was kind of the balance there. It weighed heavier on this end.
Yeah.
But no, I thought it was really good. But like you said, I wasn't like frightened, but yeah, I was very anxious about what was going to happen next. And again, Nick Cage, I love Nick Cage. I know people give him a hard time and things like that, but man, that guy can act, because this is, if you're a fan of Nick Cage and have not seen this movie yet, I don't know what you're doing with your time, because you need to see it, because it's just not anything you will expect. And then for people that aren't necessarily fans, I think you should check him out in this, because I think you'll be surprised. I really do.
Yeah.
But it's I really enjoyed the movie. And like I said, that little bit, I kind of forgave that because of the other stuff. But I really, my husband and I, we left the theater and we're like, man, we're texting the kids, you got to go see this, So yeah, we enjoyed it.
Yeah. Very good. The other thing I wanted to bring up, I actually don't know Nia DaCosta, but I wanted to bring her up because she is in talks to direct the second part of the upcoming 28 Years Later, which I think is going to be so cool.
Yeah.
So I'm, the whole zombie thing is just anything. I don't know. I want to see it. So I'm really excited that she will be directing that. She has done Candyman, another horror, but she also has done The Marvels, which is not a horror, but it just, goes to the kind of director that she is, the fact that she's done these. So I will be looking for that one, especially with her at the helm. Okay. So those are our fresh screams. We'd love to hear your Halloween list. And remember, you can always reach us on social media. You can always go comment here on YouTube, and you can also call us at 669-223-8542 because we want to know what you are watching. All right. So Renee, thank you for joining me today. I appreciate you so much.
And I thank you so much. I love doing this stuff with you. We always have such great conversations. I just thoroughly enjoy it.
Awesome. Thank you. I do too. And friends out there, we are so grateful that you joined us. We hope something that we said today resonated with you, gave you a smile, or even some heebie-jeebies. I don't know. Please subscribe to Screens in Focus at screensinfocus.com. And please share this podcast with a friend. Remember to keep watching, keep exploring, and keep those screens in focus. And we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.